Hello, welcome back to the channel. We are coming to the part 2 for step-by-step solution for IGCSE Additional Mathematics Paper 2. We have done question number 2 until question number 8 in the first part of the video. So this second part will cover from question number 9 to question number 12. So now let's begin with question number 9. Your first step is to factorize the 5, where you're getting 5, and then x squared minus 14x divided by 5 minus 3 over 5. Alright, and then take the coefficient of x divided by 2. So you will be able to get 5 exponent x squared minus 14x over 5, taking the coefficient of x, which is negative 14 over 5 divided by 2, so you will get 10 squared minus negative 14 divided by 10 squared minus 3 over 5 close bracket. And the first three terms is going to give you your perfect square, whereby we are getting x minus 7 over 5. 7 over 5 because you simplify 14 and 10. So hence this is square. Continue to simplify this particular part, where you can simply just key in your calculator and you will be able to get 64 over 25. Then expand the 5 into the bracket, so you get 5 times with x minus 7 over 5 square minus 64 over 5. You will be getting 1 mark for getting the PQR values correct in the correct format. And then you will be getting another 1 mark for the correct perfect square, and then this particular values. For the next question, you are asked to sketch the graph of y equals to 5x squared minus 14x minus 3 in modulus. So you have to clearly show the points where the graph meets the coordinate axis. So with this, we know that to find the coordinates which is intersecting with the x-axis, we will let 5x squared minus 14x minus 3 equals to 0. Hence, when you factorize, so 5x and then x, negative 3 plus 1 equals to 0. X will be equals to negative 1 over 5, and x will be equals to 3. So from the equation, the quadratic equation, since 5, the a is more than 0, we know that it will be a minimum graph. So if this will be a minimum graph, so it will look like this. So this is the graph how it will look like, with the point of intersection on the x-axis as negative 1 over 5 and 3. But when you look at the question, it is asking you to sketch a modulus graph. That means whatever reaches below the x-axis will be reflected to become a positive value. So hence, we are going to get a graph which is going to the minimum but got reflected, and then this point of intersection will be negative 1 over 5 and 3. There is another point that we have to look into, is the coordinate which is intersecting at the y-axis. So when x is equivalent to 0, y will be equals to 3 when you substitute in the equation of y. Hence, the point of intersection will be 3 here. So you will be getting the marks as, when you have the coordinates as negative 1 over 5, correct point of intersection on the x-axis, correct point of intersection on the y-axis, and the shape of the graph is correct. 4 marks. Now let's move on to the next part of the questions. The questions ask to state the set of values of k for which modulus of 5x squared minus 14x minus 3 equals to x has exactly 4 solutions. So when we perform horizontal line test for the graph that we have sketched earlier, okay, so this is roughly how the graph looks like. Alright, so with the 2 points. So if I do horizontal line test like this, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 solutions. Alright, so it is not possible to have any solution when y value is below x. Okay, so y value must be more than 0, because only above 0, y equals to 0, then this equation will have 4 solution. But will there be any maximum point? So, but it has to be lesser than the maximum point of the graph, which is this is the maximum point of the graph. Hence, we have to find out what is the maximum point of the graph. So from the solution that we have gotten from the previous part of the question, so we have, it can be written as x minus 7 over 5 square minus 64 over 5. So when I put modulus to this equation, the maximum point of this equation will be 7 over 5 and 64 over 5. So this particular point will be 64 over 5. Hence, for the set of values that we need will be, the k value has to be more than 0, but it cannot be going beyond 64 over 5. So that's the solution for this question. You are going to get 1 mark for getting this correct and getting this correct. Now let's move on to question number 10. So you have a particle moves in a straight line such that its displacement is given from a fixed point O at time t seconds, and s is equivalent to 4 plus cosine of 3t. So the particle is initially at rest. So find the exact value of t when particle is next at rest. So in this question, okay, when question is referring to at rest, okay, it says that velocity is equivalent to 0. So hence, when you have displacement equation, I can easily find the velocity by differentiating the equation of displacement. Differentiation of 4 plus cosine of 3t will give you negative 3 sine of 3t. Hence, letting this equation 3 sine of 3t equals to 0, you will be able to get 3t equals to, first is 0, second is pi, and hence t will be 0 and pi over 3. So since this is the second time it is at rest, so t value for this question is pi over 3. You are going to get 1 mark for the correct derivative and 1 mark for the correct t value. We will now proceed to part 2. Find the distance traveled by the particle between t equals to pi over 4 and t equals to pi over 3. So if you notice, there is a turning point in this question when it is at t equals to pi over 3. So we will tend to look for the displacement at each different time separately. Alright, so probably we'll begin with pi over 4. When t is equals to pi over 4, displacement will equals to 4 plus with cosine of 3 times with pi over 4, which are giving us 3.29. let's proceed to the next part, where when t is equals to pi over 2, s will be equivalent to 4 plus with cosine of 3 times with pi over 2, and it will be giving us 4. Alright, so since we have these two values, we can actually draw what is the position of the particle when it is at t equals to pi over 2 and t equals to pi over 4. So when t is equals to pi over 4, it is at 3.29. Alright, when t is equals to pi over 2, okay, it is at 4. Hence, to find the distance will be, you are taking the distance between this point to this point. So the distance traveled, okay, the distance traveled will be, we are taking 4 minus 3.29, and it is giving us 1.29. Alright, so marks will be given for substitution of pi over 4 or even pi over 2 in the equation to get the displacement, and then any method, okay, to find the difference between the 2 points, and lastly the answer. So now let's move on to the next question, where it is finding the greatest acceleration of the particle. So from the previous question, we know that velocity is equals to negative 3 sine of 3t, and therefore to get the acceleration will be negative 3 cosine of 3t and then multiply with 3, and therefore the equation for acceleration will be negative 9 cosine of 3t. So if we were to sketch the graph of this acceleration graph, so since it is cosine graph, so you are going to get cosine graph which is negative, so you are going to get a graph like this. Okay, I'm going to just draw the first part of the curve, and where you are getting the minimum point as 9 and the maximum point as 9. So as you can see, if this is the acceleration versus time graph, the maximum point is 9. So therefore the greatest acceleration of the particle will be equivalent to 9. Alright, you're going to get 1 mark for this, and then 1 mark to indicate the maximum acceleration. We will now proceed to question number 11 to solve this trigonometry equation. So we are going to make use of the trigonometry identities to solve this question. So first of all, so we know that, okay, 10 cosine square of x can be written as 1 minus sine square of x plus with 3 sine of x minus 9 equals to 0. Let us expand this. So 10 minus 10 sine square of x plus with 3 sine of x minus 9 equals to 0. To continue with this, so simplify it. Negative 10 sine square of x plus with 3 sine of x plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, you can also write this as 10 sine of square x minus 3 sine of x minus 1 equals to 0. And then we can proceed with factorization, whereby, okay, bracket equals to 0, put it as 5 sine of x and 2 sine of x. So factorize it completely, so we get negative 1 plus 1 here. So for sine of x, you will get negative 1 over 5. Sine of x on the other side, you will get 1 over 2. So basic angle is equals to 30 here. Since it is in quadrant number 1 and quadrant number 2, so x we can say that it is equivalent to 30 and 150. So moving on to the next part, where basic angle that we are getting from this particular part will be 11.5. And since it's negative, so it will appear in the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. So the answer at the third quadrant will be 191.5 degrees, and the answer at the fourth quadrant will be 348.5. Alright, so these are the answer for x. So for this pair of answer, you are going to get 1 mark. This pair of answer, another 1 mark. And then getting the correct factor, you get another 1 mark. Okay, solving and getting a quadratic equation, either this or this, will give you 1 mark. Making use of the identity, another 1 mark. Total 5 marks for this question. Let's proceed to solve question number 11, part B. So in this case, the first step that you can do is you are writing tangent to be sine of 2y divided by cosine of 2y equals to 4 sine of 2y. Alright, the next step is to bring the cosine of 2y to the other side. So you will have 3 sine of 2y equivalent to 4 sine of 2y multiplied with cosine of 2y. Okay, to continue with this, bring the right hand side to the left. So it will be minus of 4 sine of 2y cosine of 3y equals to 0. Hence, now we can do factorization where we factorize the common factor, which is sine of 2y. So here in bracket you will have 3 minus 4 cosine of 3y equals to 0. And hence you have two options of answer, where you get sine of 2y equals to 0, and then 3 minus 4 cosine of 3y equals to 0 as well. Alright, and then here 2y will be equals to, alright, so we'll start from the first angle, which is 0, follow with pi, and then continue with 2 pi, and hence y will be equals to 0, pi over 2, and also pi. Alright, continue with this. In this case, you're getting cosine of 3y, which will give you 3 over 4. Hence, if you enter in your calculator, the basic angle that you will be getting is 0.723 in radian. Since cosine of 3y equals to 3 over 4 and 3 over 4 is positive, which means that your angle will be in the first quadrant and as in quadrant number 4 as well. So hence 3y will be equivalent to, if it is in the first quadrant, so it is 0.723, and the fourth quadrant 5.56, which you take 2 pi minus 0.723. Hence y will be equivalent to 0.361 and 2.78. And then referring to the question, as you can see from here, the y value has to be in between 0 and pi. Hence, in this case, if you're looking at this, the y value that we are taking must be more than 0 and lesser than pi. So the first answer will be pi. Continue with 0.361. Continue with 278. Alright. let's look at the marks allocation. The first mark will goes to, right, if you have the step, okay, writing tangent equals to sine over cosine, continue to write it into an equation form like this, and then factorize to give this or this will give you 1 mark, okay, and then marks will be given to either you have this or this, another 1 mark, and then lastly 1 mark for your final answer with the 3 terms correct. Now let's continue to the last question, question number 12. So you have a water container in this triangular prism shape, and then the cross section is given. Okay, so now you have to show that x is equals to 2 third 3 of h, and then find the volume of water in the container in terms of h. So in this case, we will be looking at the cross section. Okay, we will be looking at the cross section of the shape, whereby now if you can see this is a right angle triangle, and if we divide it into half, okay, so the side will be x over 2 over the side, and here also it is x over 2. So we will be looking at this particular triangle where we can solve it by using tangent, because we have the adjacent and also the opposite. So hence tangent of 30 will be equivalent to opposite, which is h, divided by x over 2. Okay, and if you enter your value of tangent of 30 in the calculator, you will be able to get tangent of 30, which is equivalent to sec 3 over 3. Hence here you will be getting, simplified, you will be getting 2h over x. So to find x, what you need to do is do cross multiplication, where x will be equals to 2h multiplied with 3 divided by sec 3. Okay, hence the value that you are getting is 6h over sec 3. So now the next step is to rationalize the denominator by multiplying it with sec 3 over sec 3. So with this, you're getting 6 sec 3 times h over 3. Simplify 3 and 6, you will be getting 2 sec 3 of h. So it is shown, right? So x is equal to 2 sec 3 times h. And then next question is to ask you to find the volume of the water. So if we can get the cross-section area of the triangle prism, so what we need to do is take the cross-section area, okay, so the volume will be equals to the cross-section area multiplied with the length, which is 5. So how to find the cross-section area? It will be half times with the base, which is x, okay, times with the height, which is h, times 5, where we have proven just now where x is equals to 2 sec 3 times h. So you will get 1 over 2 times with 2 sec 3 times h, and then times 5. When you simplify, you will be able to get 5 sec 3 h squared. Okay, that's the volume. So marks will be given if you have this, okay, and then any method to show that, okay, x is equivalent to 2 sec 3 h. Lastly, 1 mark will go to the volume. Okay, continue with the second part. The container is filled at a rate of 0.5 meter cube per minute. So this info actually gave us information on the volume is increasing at the rate of 0.5. Okay, when h is equal to 0.25. So find the rate at h is increasing. So dh over dt, that's the rate of the height, equals to, we're going to use chain rule to solve this. So dh, okay, divided by dt. So the information given in the question is v, so hence it is dv over dt and dh over dv. Okay, from the previous question we have velocity. Okay, we have found that the velocity is equals to 5 sub 3 h to the power of 2. So we can easily find that dv over dh, okay, will be equivalent to 10 sub 3 and then h. Okay, with this we will be able to substitute this value. dh over dv will be equivalent to 1 over 10 sub 3 h. dv over dt is given, which is 0.5, and in this case h is also given as 0.25, hence 1 over 10 sub 3 times with 0.25 multiply with 0.5. You should be able to get your answer as 0.115. Okay, marks will be given, right, if you have the derivative correct and then putting into the correct chain rule and then substitution of h value and also dv dt value. Lastly, calculate to give the final answer. Let's proceed to the last part of the question, where question asks you to find the rate at which x is increasing. So when x is increasing, that means the question asking you to find the dx over dt. So again, we're going to use chain rule. So dx over dt. Okay, so the value that we have is dh in this case. Okay, we have found dh over dt from the previous question, which is equivalent to 0.115. So if you remember the first part, we have proven that x is equivalent to sub 3h. Hence, to get dx over dh, we just need to derive this equation to get 2 sub 3. Okay, with this, putting into the equation, so you get 2 sub of 3 multiply with 0.115. Okay, what you will get is 0.398. Okay, so you're gonna get 1 mark for substituting the correct derivative times with dh over dt, and then lastly get the correct answer. We have come to an end to this video. Thank you for watching. Okay, for more teaching video or more solutions of past year question, please subscribe to our channel, and bye bye.